Best English practice.
You know that feeling, right? When you understand quite a bit of English. You've done the grammar, you've learned vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it's time to actually speak, it feels like your brain just gets stuck, like wading through mud.
Oh, absolutely. That hesitation, that searching,
Yeah.
it's incredibly common. And it really shows the gap, doesn't it, between knowing English passively and, well, using it actively, automatically.
Exactly. And that's really what we're digging into today.
Mm-hmm.
This deep dive isn't about, memorizing more lists. Our mission here is to look at how you can actually train your brain for fluency.
Yeah, to help you make that shift
Ah.
away from constant mental translation
Right.
towards speaking more directly, more confidently.
We want to give you some practical strategies,
Yeah.
this sort of new perspective on learning so you can speak more spontaneously, with less effort, really.
And we're drawing on some really interesting insights today from a source called Train Your Brain to Speak English Fluently.
Yeah, it's got some great hands-on techniques, stuff to help develop that flow we're all after.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get into the core idea then. Why is fluency seemingly more about the brain's wiring than just, grammar rules in a book?
Well, it's fascinating, actually. Think of your brain kind of like a muscle.
Okay.
When you exercise a muscle, it gets stronger, doesn't it? It's similar with the brain pathways for English. The more you actively use them for speaking and thinking in English.
The stronger and faster they get.
Exactly. It's a neurological thing, basically. Fire those connections, and they wire together more strongly. It becomes more efficient.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So you can understand grammar perfectly, but if you're not actively thinking and speaking, those specific brain pathways aren't getting that workout they need. They don't become automatic.
Precisely. Passive study gives you the map, the understanding, but it doesn't build the highway for quick, reflexive responses in conversation.
So our goal is to help you build that bridge, between the knowledge you have and the ability to just speak effortlessly.
Okay, so building that bridge, moving beyond just understanding the map. How do we actually start training for that automaticity? What's the first big shift?
Well, this brings up a really key barrier for a lot of learners: translation.
Ah, yes. Thinking in your native language first.
Exactly. That default mode of translating every single thought into English before you say it, well, you can imagine. It just slows everything right down.
Yeah, it's like putting an extra unnecessary step in the middle of everything. It completely disrupts the flow.
It really does. So the more direct path.
What is it?
The key is to actively train yourself to think in English.
Okay, think in English. That sounds potentially a bit intimidating.
It can sound that way, yeah. But it's not about instantly debating philosophy in English. It's about starting really, really simple with your everyday thoughts.
Okay, like what? Give us some concrete examples.
Just what's around you. Instead of your native word for chair, consciously think chair.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? Think, I feel hungry. Or, it's a nice day, making coffee. Think, I'm making coffee.
Oh, okay. So tiny immediate thoughts.
Yes. These small, consistent moments of direct English thought start to build a direct link. Concept to English word, bypassing the translation step.
That seems like a really doable first step. Almost like putting little English mental Post-it notes on everything.
That's a great way to think about it.
Are there specific exercises people could do to actively practice this?
Absolutely. Turn it into a little daily game. See something. Name it in English, silently. Feel something. Try to label that feeling in English just to yourself. Even before you do something simple, like making breakfast. Try thinking through the steps in basic English. Get the eggs, need a pan,
I can definitely see how doing that consistently would start carving out new pathways.
Yeah.
But I can also imagine it feeling a bit weird at first.
Oh, for sure.
Or frustrating if you don't know the word. How do you handle that initial awkwardness?
That's totally normal. You will stumble. You won't know words.
Right.
The key thing is not to let it stop you. Don't get discouraged. Just keep trying.
Okay.
Over time, as you look up those words or figure them out, the whole process of thinking in English just becomes, more natural, more automatic. It's like learning to type without looking. Clunky at first, right? But then it just flows.
Yeah, good analogy. Okay, so shifting from translation to direct English thought is step one. What's the next strategy for really boosting spoken fluency?
Well, connecting it to your actual life becomes really powerful. focusing your practice on the kind of real situations you face regularly.
Okay. So not just random phrases, but language relevant to you.
Exactly. It's about training your brain for the specific demands of your daily life.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples how someone might tailor this?
Sure. So if you're a student, your context is often the classroom, right? So practice the phrases you'd actually use there, like, can I ask a question? Or what page are we on? Or could you repeat that?
Okay, yeah. Things you genuinely need to say.
Practicing those makes those real interactions smoother, more automatic.
Makes sense. What about someone, say, working in a shop or a cafe?
Right. So for them, the focus should be on customer interactions.
Yeah.
You know, can I help you? Are you paying by card? That'll be £5.50, please.
Yeah.
Mastering those core high-frequency phrases for their situation is much more useful for their fluency than, say, learning complex academic words they'll never use at work.
So it's about relevance.
Yeah.
And repeated exposure in that context.
Mhm.
How does that repetition help the brain build fluency?
What's really interesting is pattern recognition. When you hear and use similar phrases in the same type of situation again and again,
Your brain starts to expect them.
exactly, it starts recognizing the patterns. You anticipate what comes next in a typical conversation, like ordering coffee or asking for directions, and your responses become quicker, more natural, because your brain has basically seen this movie before. It's creating these mental templates for common interactions.
Mental templates, I like that.
Uh-huh.
The source had a little role play example, didn't it, to illustrate this?
It did, yeah. A really simple one, like at a market stall.
Okay.
Vendor says, hello, looking for anything special today, customer. Yes, how much are the tomatoes?
Right.
Vendor, they're £2 a kilo. Customer, okay, great. I'll take 1 kilo, please. Thanks.
Super basic, but you see the pattern. Greeting, question about price, decision, thanks.
Precisely. And by consciously practicing these kinds of common exchanges, maybe even acting them out, you're not just memorizing. You're training your brain on the flow, the expected language.
Mm-hmm.
And that builds a solid foundation for handling similar situations more fluently later on.
Okay, so purposeful, relevant practice is key.
Right.
What other powerful techniques can help really lock in that automatic speaking ability?
Well, 2 techniques that really leverage the brain's natural learning style, imitation and repetition, are shadowing and, well, deliberate repetition.
Shadowing. That sounds intriguing. What exactly is that?
Shadowing is basically listening to a native speaker, could be a podcast, a YouTube video, whatever,
Right.
and you try to repeat what they're saying almost at the exact same time. Like you're their echo or their shadow.
So not just repeating after a pause, but trying to speak with them?
Yes, as closely as you can manage. And you're not just copying the words, you're trying to mimic everything, the pronunciation, the rhythm, the intonation, the ups and downs.
Okay. What kind of material is best for that?
Podcasts are great, YouTube videos where people speak clearly, even bits from movies or TV shows, though you might need to pause and rewind more there.
Right.
Start with short clips. And don't stress about understanding every word initially. The main goal is mimicking the sound and the flow.
And how does doing that actually help my fluency? What's the benefit of mimicking someone else?
Shadowing is brilliant for building what you might call an English reflex.
Okay.
By constantly trying to match the native speaker's pace and sound, your brain gets really tuned in to the specific patterns of English. Sounds, rhythm, everything.
So it improves your own pronunciation and rhythm?
Definitely. And it makes your own speech production faster and more natural over time because your brain is essentially training itself to react more quickly, more automatically in English.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like training the physical side of speaking, too.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned deliberate repetition. How does that work?
Well, repetition is just fundamental to making any skill automatic, isn't it?
True. Like learning an instrument or driving.
Exactly. You didn't nail parallel parking the first time.
Yeah, I finished
Definitely not. But through repetition, it becomes smoother, less conscious effort.
Oh.
Language is the same. By deliberately repeating useful phrases, sentence structures, you're burning those patterns into your brain, making them stick.
So whether it's shadowing or repeating key phrases, it's about that consistent exposure and active engagement. Now, the source also laid out some specific daily habits, things we can do to support this brain training. Let's run through those.
Yeah, these are designed to make English practice a consistent part of your routine because consistency is really crucial for retraining the brain.
Okay, habit number 1.
First one, just 5 minutes every morning. Actively think in English.
5 minutes. That sounds very manageable. What kind of thinking?
Could be anything simple. Mentally plan your day in English. First, I'll have breakfast, then I need to check emails.
Okay.
Or describe what you see out the window. Or just reflect on something in English. The point is to consciously flip that English switch in your brain right at the start of the day.
Right, primes the pump. Okay, habit 2.
Second habit, speak out loud in English every single day, even if it's just to yourself.
Talking to yourself.
Yeah, narrate what you're doing. Okay, now I'm chopping the onions. Read something out loud. Have little imaginary conversations.
I can see how that builds comfort with actually producing the sounds. Okay, habit 3.
Habit 3, listen to English for at least 15 minutes a day, minimum.
Okay, podcasts, music.
Yep. Podcasts, music, audiobooks, news reports, anything that exposes you to the natural rhythm and flow of spoken English. Passive listening counts here too.
15 minutes. Again, very doable. Habit 4.
Number 4 is about using tools, language learning apps or AI partners for dialogue practice.
Technology to the rescue.
Yeah, they can provide a safe, low-pressure space to actually practice speaking, maybe get some feedback. Convenient, too.
A good point.
Absolutely.
Especially if you don't have many opportunities to talk to native speakers. And the last one, habit 5.
Fifth habit, write a short English journal entry every night.
Journaling. How does that help speaking?
It makes you actively formulate your thoughts in English. Plus, it helps solidify vocabulary or grammar you encounter during the day. It's another way of actively using the language.
Okay, so those 5 habits. Think, speak, listen, interact with tech, and write. It sounds like a really well-rounded daily workout for the brain.
Exactly. They're all concrete actions, things you can actually start doing today to build those stronger English pathways.
Finally, the source really stressed mindset too. Motivation, belief. How important are those?
Oh, they're absolutely fundamental. You know, the source used a great analogy. Learning a language is like building a bridge in your brain.
Okay.
Every word, every sentence you learn and use, it's like laying another brick. It takes consistent effort, and you have to believe you can actually finish the bridge, right?
Yeah, and it's crucial not to get hung up on perfectionism, isn't it? Expecting to sound perfect immediately.
Absolutely. Consistency beats perfection every time. Small, regular efforts. That's what builds the bridge over time. Every little bit counts.
And remembering that fluency isn't some kind of magic talent only some people have.
Yes. That is such a key point. Fluency is a skill, like learning tennis or coding.
Right.
And like any skill, you can develop it. You can get much, much better with the right practice, the right training techniques. Believing you can achieve it is actually a really powerful part of the process.
So pulling it all together from this deep dive, it really seems fluency is less about just knowing stuff and more about actively training your brain through consistent practice, thinking in English, building those relevant context skills, and establishing those daily habits.
Precisely. It boils down to that. Fluency is a skill you build. You train your brain for it actively, consistently.
So for you listening, maybe the big question to take away is this. What's just one small brain training habit, just one thing from today that you can commit to starting, maybe even today?
Just remember, every bit of practice trains your brain. Keep at it, believe you can do it, and that consistent effort will lead to greater fluency. It really unlocks your potential in English.